Hi, my name is Jason again. Welcome back to the Contractor Selling Tools. I'm going to talk to you about qualifying your clients. A lot of the jobs you might lose, you're going to lose because you're spending time with non-buyers. You're spending time working with people who you never had a chance of selling in the first place. You don't want to spend time with them. You want to spend time with the buyers, with the people who are going to spend money on the remodeling project, give us the materials and you the labor, and everybody's happy. How do you know who those people are? Basically, you need to ask them if they're a buyer. And you do that a couple of ways. It's called qualifying. And that's the most important thing when you meet somebody, is to realize that they're a prospect first. They're not a buyer yet. They're not your customer yet. They need to earn the right to have your time. Okay? Not everybody who picks up the phone, not everybody who answers your ad, not everybody who fills out the form on our website deserves our time. That's something that might be a little bit hard for you to understand, because right now in this economy we all want work. Somebody fills out the form, we get all excited. Somebody calls you, you get all excited. But that doesn't mean that they're worth your time yet. They need to prove themselves to you. The first thing to do, obviously, is to bond with them. And I don't think I need to teach you how to do that. You have your style, you have your personality, you know how you're going to do that. But first of all, you bond with them. So, hi, Mr. and Mrs. Jenkins, it's really great to meet you. Thanks for having me come in your home. And you small talk, and you comment on the carpet, you comment on the, the kids' pictures on the wall, and you make them like you. After that, you move into the qualification. My first question is always, Mr. Customer, Mrs. Customer, give me a big picture of what we're trying to do here. What brought me to your home? And then let them talk. Stop talking. Make sure that you are not dominating this part of the conversation. You're going to dominate later on. You need to make sure that you know what they want. And you also need to take notes, okay? You might feel geeky, you might feel uncomfortable, but when you ask that question, you need to take out a piece of paper and start writing. Or, if you're like me, you take out your laptop and start typing. You need to take notes. After they have given you a big picture, you need to kind of zoom in on some things. So you need to say, specifically, what is your style? Or what's the overall look that you're trying to achieve? And then some people will know the terminology. They'll say, well, we're modern, or we're traditional, or we're country, or we're cottage. And if they know the terminology, write it down. If you're not familiar with that terminology, ask them to describe it. It might be a good idea to ask them to describe it anyway, because what you think of as cottage might not be what they think of as cottage. Be specific. What kind of flooring do you want? How do you want the cabinet door to be shaped? Do you want it raised panel? Do you want it recessed panel? Do you want it arch-topped or square-topped? Slab doors, beadboard doors. Do you want to see that it's wood? Do you want laminate? Do you want metal? Do you want acrylics? All kinds of things come out in the style question. Ask clarifying questions with them until there is no shadow of a doubt in your mind that you know what they want. Okay? So, bond, big picture, style. Question number 4 is timeline. You're going to use this to close them later on. Okay? Don't ask them, when do you want to buy this? Because they don't know how long it takes to be made, and they don't know how long it takes to be shipped. So they don't know when they need to buy. Ask them, when do you want to install this product? Or when do you want this product to be delivered? Because those are questions that they can answer. Again, write it down. You're going to use this to close them. Okay? So they're going to tell you, well, we want the product in 6 weeks. If they tell you that, then you can jokingly or in a non-threatening way say, oh, that's awesome. That means that we're buying today. Because it takes at least 6 weeks to deliver many of these products. Or if they tell you, we want it delivered in 4 months, then you can say something disarming like, oh great, that means that we have plenty of time. We need to be placing this order in about 2 months. Okay? But you're going to use your knowledge of how long it takes to be delivered to set up the purchasing date for them. I ask them what their budget is. Okay, now this is probably the hardest question of the qualifying process. And you can say it any number of ways. You can say, okay, so you want to have the product delivered in 2.5 months, and you're very modern. That's great. How much do you think your modern kitchen remodel is going to cost you? That's a fair question to ask. Or You could say, and what's your target budget for this? Or you could say, how much do you have set aside for this project? However you ask it, you must get an answer, okay? This is the most important part of the qualifying process. You must get an answer. I do not do a quote until I have an answer on this question, okay? And if the person doesn't want to give you their budget, if they say something like, well, I'm not really comfortable sharing that with you, then you can say, well, I'm sorry, it's not going to work out between us, because I need to make sure that I'm spending my time in the best way possible. If you're trying to get this project done for, and throw out a stupidly small number, for $300, then obviously that's not going to work. And the client's going to say, well, I know it's not going to cost $300. And then you say, fine, I'm glad you know that. What is it going to cost? And I promise you, if you don't move on until you have that answer, you have a much better chance of closing the deal. The thing I ask is about build quality. So, you want cabinets delivered in 6 weeks. You want them to be a traditional dark cherry wood with a raised panel and lots of molding, and you want a contrasting floor color. You've set aside $21,000 for your remodel project, including appliances and installation. And I want to make sure that I deliver an acceptable product to you. So how would you like this built? You're going to get all kinds of different answers again there. Some people know how cabinets are built and how flooring is made because they've already done some homework. They're going to say something like, well, it has to be at least a ½ inch thick sidewall. I want a maple dovetail drawer box and an undermount soft close Blum motion runner. If they do write that down, they've answered your question. They might give you a more general answer like, well, I don't want particle board. Write that down. Make sure you don't quote the particle board. Some people will give you even less specific of an answer and say something like, well, budget is more important than quality. Write that down. Then you know that you want to get them obviously something as good as you can for what they can afford, but you don't want to break a single penny over their budget because of a quality upgrade. Some people will tell you, I want this quality, and they'll describe it, and I don't care how much it costs. Again, make sure that you write that down. And an upfront contract is basically you giving back to them all that they've told you. So, and then at the end of it, asking them to buy. And it goes something like this. Mr. and Mrs. Jenkins, thank you very much for your time today. I've learned a lot about what we're trying to accomplish. Let me make sure I've got this right. And then you're going to feed back to them what they've said. You told me that you're remodeling your kitchen and you're replacing cabinetry, countertop, flooring, and appliances. You've told me that you are going for an ultra-modern look. You don't want a lot of wood. You want a lot of bright primary colors and flat, smooth surfaces. You've also told me that you want to have this material delivered at the end of August. And you've told me that you've set aside $15,000 for this product. Is that right? Do I have everything right, or did I get something wrong? Pause, ask them to tell you, yes, that's what we've told you. And then lean in and look them in the eyes and say, assuming I can do all of that, assuming I can give you your ultra-modern primary color kitchen delivered at the end of August, built to the quality specifications that you want, and the final number is $15,000 or less, will you buy from me? Okay? And that's very important. And again, don't let them fluff you on that. If they say, well, we'd consider it, then you need to go back and do more work because you haven't really gotten to the root of what they want. If you give back to them the exact thing that they're looking for the number that they're looking for, they should say yes. If they don't say yes, you're not done with your qualification, okay? Then you need to go back and you need to go through it again. And it might sound something like, oh, well, I must have missed something because I thought you had said that you're wanting to do a remodel project and go through it again. And you might say, what have I missed? Or what have I done wrong? Or what would it take to have you say yes to that question? And let them talk, okay? And so at some point they will say, yes, if you do this, 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 and this, and this, we will buy from you.